Imagine this, a young man from Dunedin barely out of his teens already turning heads across New Zealand rugby. Not because he's at the top of his game yet, but because everything about his rise suggests something special is brewing. This is Dylan Pledger, a halfback who has quietly become one of the most talked about young talents in the country. Pledger is just 20 years old, but his rugby journey already reads like a fast-paced build-up to a breakout year. Born on June 5, 2005, Pledger grew up in Dunedin and went to King's High School, where he started to show signs of the kind of instinct rugby nous that would set him apart. Even while still in school, he was named in the New Zealand school side, a rare honour that only a handful of players achieve, and it was just one of the few South Islanders in the squad. This early recognition wasn't just about talent, it was about impact and leadership at a young age, catching the eye of selectors and coaches around the country. Standing at around 171 centimetres tall and weighing roughly 74 to 75 kilograms, Pledger might not be the biggest guy on the pitch, but his size is deceptive. While he lacks in bulk, he makes up with for lightning quick hands, sharp decision making, and tempo control that belies his age. These are qualities that have defined him from the moment he stepped onto the provincial stage. After leaving high school, Pledger's rugby journey accelerated. He entered the Highlanders academy system and became a key part of the Highlanders under-20 side, where his performances further solidified his reputation. His tempo, his delivery from ruck, and his tactical awareness were all on display as he led and controlled games at age grade level. These weren't just flashes of brilliance, they were consistent, week in, week out performances that showed an understanding of the halfback role beyond his years. But it wasn't just with the Highlanders pathway where Pledger was making waves. He earned selection for the New Zealand under-20 sides in both 2024 and 2025 campaigns, a huge milestone for any young player. Wearing the black jersey at age grade international level meant he was not only competing with the best young players in the country, but also against some of the best young talent from around the world. In the World Rugby Under-20 Championship, he was in the thick of high-pressure games, including matches against powerhouse sides like France. Experiences like that don't just build skill, they build confidence and maturity on the big stage. While many players fade out after schoolboy success, Pledger kept ascending. In 2024, he made his debut for Otago in the National Provincial Championship, the proving ground for future Super Rugby stars. That first year was about learning, showing that he could step into the senior rugby and handle the pace of the adult game. But it was in 2025 that things truly started to click. He not only became a regular in the Otago starting lineup, but he had also begun scoring points and shaping games with genuine influence. In a memorable match against Wellington, he scored Otago's first try, combining with bigger forwards around him and creating space for his backs with crisp passing and athletic running. Those are the kind of moments that get fans talking long after the final whistle. Every young player has a moment where observers start saying, this one might really make it. For Pledger, that moment came during the 2025 NPC season, where he wasn't just fitting into the team but starting to drive it. He'd shown he could handle the physicality and pace, and more importantly, that he had what it took to make attacking plays when it mattered most. Critics and comments online lit up with the mentions of his vision, his capacity to read the game, and the way he seemed to pull defenders out of position before they even realised what was happening. Of course, none of this went unnoticed by the Highlanders franchise. In late 2025, the club officially signed him into their Super Rugby squad for the 2026 season, alongside other rising talents. A clear indication that the Highlanders see him as an investment in the future and not just a development player. Coach Jamie Joseph spoke openly about how the club tracks young players like Pledger over years, noting that his achievements in age-grade rugby and domestic competition earned him the opportunity. That's a huge vote of confidence for someone so early in their career. So what exactly makes Dylan Pledger a standout halfback? Well, for starters, his service from the base of the ruck is crisp and accurate, a trait that elevates his entire team's attack. In modern rugby, a halfback needs to be more than a passer. He needs to control tempo, spot space, and make split-second decisions that create opportunities. And Pledger has shown he can do all of that. His sniping runs, sudden breaks around the fringe of the breakdown, keeps opposition defences honest, forcing them to stay alert and react quickly. When a defender hesitates for a split second, Pledger's pace and footwork have been able to exploit that gap. His passing game isn't just fast, it's intelligent. He knows when to speed it up to catch a defender off guard and when to slow the ball down to let a play develop. That kind of rugby IQ doesn't always show up in the stats, but it's exactly what coaches and analysts look for when measuring a halfback's potential impact. Combine that with his quick feet and the confidence to take contact or draw defenders before offloading, and you begin to see why people are excited about him. Despite all that promise, Pledge's journey hasn't always been without its challenges. In 2025, he was widely discussed as a potential pick for the All Blacks First 15 squad for the European tour, but he ultimately missed out on that selection. It was a tough moment for many fans and commentators who felt his NPC form deserved recognition, but it also highlighted just how competitive the pathway to national selection really is. Even so, the discussions around his omission only added to the buzz, because many people saw it as a sign that he's knocking firmly on the door of the next level. Put simply, missing out on that selection doesn't diminish what he's achieved, especially considering he's only stepped into Super Rugby territory. In fact, not being rushed into higher honours could be exactly what allows him the time to refine his skills and build the strength he needs to thrive at the top level. Coaches often talk about the importance of patience, and with Pledge's running style and physical demands of open play, building his frame without losing speed could be a decisive factor in how he rises. Here's the interesting part. While Pledge hasn't donned the All Blacks jersey yet, not even the All Blacks 15, the conversations around his name only keeps growing. Social rugby communities, fan forums and pundits all bring him up as a player who could be something very special if given the time and opportunity. That kind of grassroots buzz is rare for players who haven't played a minute of Super Rugby, and it says a lot about how much faith supporters have in him for what he's shown so far. When you look at his timeline, New Zealand school sides, under-20 international appearances, solid NPC seasons, and now a Super Rugby contract, the trajectory is clear. This is a young player who isn't just progressing, he's accelerating, and that's the kind of narrative that keeps viewers watching, because there's a sense of what's next rather than what's already happened. As the 2026 Super Rugby season approaches, all eyes will now be on how Pledge handles the step up. Will he start games? Will he come off the bench and change the tempo? How will he cope with the physicality of front row forwards charging at him at full throttle? These are the questions that make rugby fans excited, not just the performance itself, but the anticipation around it. Ever wanted to create your own rugby highlights channel just like this one? With my course, the YouTube Creator Toolkit, I show you exactly how I do it, from the tools I use to the templates I built. You get everything. Just copy, paste, and start creating. Learn how to grow your channel, keep viewers hooked, and turn views into income. Click the link in the description below to learn more and start your channel today. Now back to the video. If you're passionate about rugby and want to stay updated on Pledge's rise, make sure you hit that like button, share this video with a rugby mate who loves rugby, and subscribe for more stories like this. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. Peace!